just to repeat what I had been saying so far, we come to the idea of free fall, that is building on the concept of increasing the inclined plane's slope. As we increase it further and further, Galileo's experiment, we figure out that the object's acceleration keeps increasing, and it arrives at a natural limit when the inclined plane is perpendicular to the ground. Okay, and if you continue to increase the inclination, it kind of makes no sense, because the acceleration of this and the acceleration in this case rather and in this case are going to be more or less the same. So that is the maximum acceleration that is possible for an object which is falling towards the ground. Okay, now what is that quantity? There is acceleration, it is the maximum that is possible, but we still don't know what it is. So we go to the great chalk cliffs of Dover in the south of England. Why particularly there and why not anywhere else is because that's the only place where I have seen where there are these cliffs which have a sheer drop, and it makes it very useful for us for this particular.
Sir, even many of the rock cliffs have that.
Yeah, but I like the chalk cliffs of Dover. Do you have any objections?
Yeah. No, sir, no objections.
Okay, and let's say you go to the top of this chalk cliff in Dover, and you drop an object, the same Galileo's red ball. I don't know if he actually used a red ball, but let's say since I have this color, I use the same thing. Let's say you drop that and allow the object to fall freely under the influence of gravity. Let us say that on this ball, because it's a thought experiment, we can do this. I have a speedometer, okay, which tells its instantaneous speed. So the speedometer, kind of draw it like that. It's the same thing that is there in the textbook. I'm just borrowing the same idea. I hope you all don't mind. Okay, and it's showing the velocity of the object as it falls. Okay, now when will you compare the velocity of the objects? You will compare it at the end of some regular time interval. Okay, so you drop the object when t is equal to 0 seconds, and then the next time you look at the speedometer, it will be when the time t is equal to 1 second. Okay, now when the object has fallen through a time of 1 second, why does it have a hole in the middle? Okay, then it is noted that the speedometer shows a speed of 10 meters per second. Okay, it falls. Okay. It falls even further. We know that it accelerates, so we have to give it more time, or rather greater distance for it to fall. And then
it's going a little slant.
It's okay. I'll correct it a little bit later. Maybe I should use
the is going in that direction.
I'll just use this scale from now on. It's supposed to fall straight down, no? So we have to do it properly. Okay, done. Okay, and this is when time t is equal to 2 seconds, and the speed, when you looked at it, it read approximately, all of this is approximate, 20 meters per second. Okay, you allow it to fall for a while longer, and this time it's going to cover even greater distance. The time is equal to 3 seconds, and the velocity is approximately, what will it be now?
30 meters.
30 meters per second.
30 meters per second.
Okay, and so on and so forth. So for as long as you can view it, it keeps increasing by a rate of 10 meters per second. Now I ask you, what is the acceleration of this object? So what is the acceleration is equal to? How will you find out?
You just subtract. You basically have a data. You have the change in time. You have the change in velocity, so you can find it.
Yeah, but there are at least 1, 2 and 3 intervals that are there. So you want to choose which interval, or you can take the whole thing, or you can take a part of it, or you can take this much,
It
whatever.
doesn't matter, sir. You can do any.
The answer is going to be same, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You understand, right? The reason why I said that is because so that you can see that um, the accelerations in all of the cases are going to be exactly the same. Perhaps Rishabh can tell me what is the acceleration. We all discussed how to find out the acceleration, but can you tell me what is the acceleration? Did he just leave the class?
No, sir, I'm here.
Okay. So how do you have an answer, Rishabh? So can you repeat that?
10 meters per second every second.
10 meters per second per second. I'll put it. Can I just put it as
Sir,
10
it would be
It's a
10
second
meters per
square.
second square?
Just square it up, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
Square.
said you'll use that, sir.
Okay.
But sir,
How did you come? How did you arrive at that conclusion?
So because like every second it's increasing by 10 meters per second.
Obviously, right? It's as simple as that. Every time interval of 1 second, every 1 second, it is changing by 10 meters per second. So the change will be probably is going to be 10 meters per second per second. So this value of acceleration, which is equal to 10 meters per second square, and if you want, we can also do the calculation. You can take any time interval. Let us take it from
yeah, sir. That's
0 to 3. Okay, so we know that acceleration is delta v by delta t. Okay, so from 0 to 3, the velocity changed from 0 meters per second. I didn't note it down over here, but it's obvious because the object is at rest in your hand.
why is it approximately? It should be exactly, no?
Huh?
Why
Here,
is it like,
Why is it approximate?
Values are approximate.
here it is equal to, correct. Good point. So you can say that from time t0 to t3, delta v will be 30 minus 0 divided by delta t will be 3 minus 0. So you see what you get, 30 by 3, that is equal to 10 meters per second square. Okay, confirm. Now,
Yeah.
just for the heck of it, we'll see what happens over here from 2 to 3 seconds. Okay, same
So
formula.
that's verifying, right?
Acceleration is equal to delta v by delta t. Delta v is 30 minus 20 and delta t is 3 minus 2. So what do we get? 10 by 1.
10.
So therefore 10 meters per second square. So whichever time interval you take, if you apply delta v by delta t, then you are going to get exactly the same answer, and therefore our conclusion is correct. Is that fine? Get it now? So,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
so this value of
Yeah.
acceleration is an acceleration which is a special thing. It is unique to the planet Earth. Why? Because the specific amount of gravitational force, whatever that might be, that is acting on this planet, gives any object which is allowed to fall freely an acceleration of 10 approximately 10 meters per second square. Careful experimentation reveals that this acceleration, which is called as acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so I'm just writing it here.
Sir,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you said the ball like is falling from the cliff in a straight line, right?
Yeah.
So, but what about the wind speed, wind and
I'll
everything?
come
How
to
can
that.
it fall in a straight?
I'll come to that. This is chalk cliffs of Dover without any wind. Everything has been removed with a vacuum pump.
How?
Thought experiment. So that is why it
It's
is
like our
possible.
mystery box.
Yeah, but
These are the mystery
Sir,
cliffs.
good point. I will come to that because that will help us to define what is free fall. But I'll come to that. So just to
sir, I
finish
know the
this point,
speed of that.
acceleration due to gravity, which is abbreviated by the symbol small g, is approximately equal to 9.8 meters per second square. Okay, but the number 9.8 meters per second square is a fairly inconvenient number. You will see why a little bit later when we start doing mathematical calculations. So therefore, as far as class 8 syllabus is concerned, I kind of take a little bit of liberty and approximate it to 10 meters per second square. And the reason I do that is because 10 is a nice, very kind number.
Whole number.
Allows,
Sir,
it
but
allows,
Very
then,
exact.
it
but
allows
then
us
that means after 50 seconds,
to
it will be
calculate.
like off by 10 meters per second.
When you multiply it, yeah, it will become 0.2 off. Yes.
Yeah. So
So
like after 50 seconds, it will be like off by
for large
10 meters per second.
for large time intervals, this can introduce quite a large error. That is true, but for the sake of convenience, we can keep it as 10 meters per second square.
Okay, okay.
That is acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so now we come to the question that Kailash asked: what about the wind? What about the resistance? This is not a scenario in which there is no wind possible. There will be wind, but yes, of course. So what will happen is that if there are winds blowing, then naturally the object will not fall straight down. If the wind is hitting from one side, then the ball will move to the other side. If it is coming from that side, the ball will move towards you. If the wind is blowing upwards, then the ball is going to be slowed down. The acceleration is not going to be the same as 10 meters per second square. All that is there. So therefore, we say that we consider the object to be in free fall, right? Only
Sir,
if it is falling under the influence of gravity. There are no other resistive forces that are acting on the body. If and only if that happens, we call it free fall. So on the surface of the earth, is there
Does it happen?
any object that is free falling? No, not quite, because it is impossible for us to remove all frictional forces. So again, it is a question of reductionist science, taking ideals, understanding from simplicity, and then moving towards complexity. Okay, so free fall of an object is a situation in which the object is falling only under the influence of gravity and no other forces act on it. Yes, now if there are any questions or doubt, you can ask.
So that's not possible on Earth, right?
sir,
Uh,
I'd gotten disconnected in the middle.
yeah,
Like precisely not possible.
it's not precisely possible, accurately doable. It may be possible to do it under very controlled circumstances. Like I said yesterday, if we had a situation in which, say for example, we create vacuum. Okay, so there is a sort of glass jar and you connect this to a vacuum pump. And you remove all the air from inside this. Okay, so you have a vacuumized container. And if you allowed objects to fall, so naturally this container cannot be too large. You can make a container like this 1 meter, 2 meter, not more than that. Okay, and then if you drop objects within this, then you are likely to get a situation which is quite close to free fall. But then how will you know? You have to measure it, and if you start measuring it, then the instruments which are used to measure it are going to introduce their own errors, blah 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 blah. So that those sort of limitations still continue to apply.